Indeed.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an emergency episode of Half of the Comic Con.
Some
It's
big
been a
news.
wild day, huge news.
Yes.
Let's obviously fans, audience member, viewers will know what we're talking about based off the title. But just to rip the Band-Aid off today, we're going to be talking about Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard for a whopping $70 billion.
Bro, it's free on the fucking game store, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
You could just download it off Battle.net for free. Why did Microsoft pay $70 billion for it? What the hell?
Yeah, this is very big news, especially if anyone has been paying attention to the recent quality of the video games coming out of that company, whether it be COD, WoW, fucking mobile games, anything. This is important, to say the least. Very important.
Absolutely. This is Microsoft's next step in becoming the Disney of the gaming world. Just snatching up properties.
Grab them.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about this because obviously anyone who's listened to any episode of the podcast knows we are big fans of Call of Duty. So in this, just to there'll be timestamps that people can skip around if they want to go to specific portions of the video, but as a little like table of contents for the video, we're going to briefly talk about the acquisition itself and what that potentially means for Microsoft, for the gaming industry. We might go into a little bit of detail about what potentially we will be seeing or want to see from future Call of Duty games, because while this is a huge acquisition that is bigger than just Call of Duty is obviously our main sort of interest in this.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the video, or probably the second half of the video, is we're going to be going over our collective rankings of the Call of Duty franchise.
Yes.
Game by game.
Except the first three.
Except the first three, but yeah, we'll talk about that more when we actually get to that. But for now, this is some pretty big news. You were doing some researching on some articles, a little bit of reading.
If I may raise my hand and throw my information I found into the conversation here.
Please do.
So, from the surface, this purchase looks like their properties are worth money. I want their properties to make more money, which it is. Obviously, that's how it works as business, right? Money makes money.
Right.
But they have some choice. They had a very interesting perspective on other reasonings for purchasing it, including connections to their own idea of a metaverse-esque thing, like Facebook's trying to shill to everyone. Because metaverse, if you don't know, isn't just like virtual reality headset. I work in VR. It's also like just a connection of it's like essentially an ecosystem, like, you know how Apple, everything's fucking connected. It's the same thing. Yeah. So they're trying to build their own, like, they're trying to buff up their metaverse, and a lot of it's like they have really grand expectations for what this will entail in the future, for the gaming industry and just entertainment as a whole. They're trying to do what Disney does and kind of consolidate it. And the opinions on that can vary. Whether it's good or bad is up to the individual. But
right, I think this is the next step in sort of it's pushing into a new era of like consumerism and entertainment. I think back to like all the progress humanity has made over the years in regards to entertainment and like televisions and streaming services and all this sort of stuff, and thinking back and looking at like what are the next steps into a bigger, more grand world, next sort of innovations in the realm of entertainment. And I think now is where we're kind of getting a ground level look at these companies trying to be the driving force of that innovation, and then start trying to take those next steps towards a very different and progressive form of entertainment.
I mean, yeah, because if you look at like Facebook, right? They own vast amounts of different companies and social network sites. Instagram, Facebook. It's like the website. I guess not Facebook. Meta owns Facebook, Instagram, all that bullshit. They're trying to push their VR stuff. They have Oculus, which no longer exists. It's just a subsect of Meta now,
Mhm.
and that's one company. And then this is essentially Microsoft plopping down like their business card like on the meeting and go, we're in it too. We're
Right.
here to play. We're going to try to be an innovator because what they're doing, like they just bought like Bethesda,
Hmm.
like now Activision, Blizzard, like these companies are massive. Activision's kind of in a rough spot
Yeah.
because of the Blizzard stuff, because of just Activision being Activision. Their games are ass. Lately, they're really bad. There's a lot of issues.
Tons of PR scandals, tons of just
Yes.
awful work environment news coming out every day.
Yeah. But this was definitely a purchasing decision for like we can make these properties worth a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to this is what everyone was thinking. As soon as this news hit with Bethesda as well, it was okay, they're going to be like pulling the reins. Okay, you got to actually release something that is working.
Right.
Bare minimum is a necessary aspect of Microsoft. We know this because of Halo, for example. The game functions. Believe it or not, out of the box, it works.
Right.
Crazy to think about that. And at its official launch date, not the like the pre-launch, but the official launch date where the campaign came out, it was a full, complete video game,
Hmm.
despite missing some features. But it functioned. It had a campaign. It had a multiplayer. Did everything it was advertised. There we go, complete. That's an example of Microsoft bare minimuming like. So I'm excited to see that will most likely be pushed upon Bethesda, Activision, probably going to do some working on Blizzard, Blizzard's side. So it's cool to me. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Also scary.
Very, very, very scary. And very like, I mean, there's been a lot of different stuff like this happening recently. Um, like Take-Two just acquired some other properties, right? And then Tencent is
God, don't even talk
starting
about
to buy
10 cent,
up
bro.
a bunch of. But the thing is, a lot of the like, I forget who was it. It was Take-Two that bought Zynga, right?
I have no
Recently.
clue. I
Okay.
didn't know about this one.
Okay. Well, I think Take-Two bought Zynga. It was either Take-Two bought Zynga or Tencent bought Zynga, but it was like $7 billion, and it was a huge deal. This is 10 times as big as that, and I think now we're getting to the point where it's like it really is going to be like Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and Tencent, and then a bunch of indie developers. Like they are very much trying to Disney it up and just take in as many different become the parent organization for all these other developing companies. Um,
Yeah.
and we're definitely moving towards that sort of like it's all sort of consolidating into a few major developing groups. Uh, and that is very intimidating. It's a I think it's a dangerous precedent. But it is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, um, especially, of course, like we've already mentioned, with all the PR issues and the reports coming out regarding Activision and Blizzard about their, workplace like settings and just everything that's going on behind the scenes. It's going to be very telling like how it's going to move on for the future. Uh, we're gonna have to find out in these next coming weeks, month, um, regarding like how those issues are resolved and what Microsoft uh, does with all that. Um, I don't necessarily think a lot of that will be resolved because this deal doesn't come into effect until I think 2023.
I believe so. Yeah.
But obviously, there's going to be a lot of shakeups, hopefully, like right now as that transition begins.
It's gonna be an age of change. I feel like we're gonna start noticing weird differences in how things function as a preparation for staff changes, the way things are managed. And a good example is the head honcho of Activision. I forget his name. You might know it.
Uh, Bobby
Koltek?
Kotick or
Koltek?
Kotick
Koltek?
or something like that.
That guy, who has a bunch of allegations against him,
Yes.
is not just being like, oh, we're your boss now. They're kicking him out.
Yeah, Bobby
And
Kotick.
someone is taking his place. I believe it's the guy. It's a public-ish figure in Microsoft who will be kind of like becoming his original job when they inevitably do that switch. So they have essentially given this guy his date of execution. Like, here's the date. You're gone, buddy. So you're gonna start probably seeing some weird shit happen because there's essentially this probably air over that company of like, oh no, we're fucked. Especially the people who have bad press against them. Microsoft doesn't want that bad press, so they are going
Right.
to purge that entire company. Blizzard, Activision, even the sub little things like Treyarch and shit. They're going to start purging everything that is negative, obviously.
Um, yeah, so I'm reading into it a little bit, and we have a lot of conflicting reports about some sources saying that Kotick it will remain with Activision, and then others saying that he will be leaving Activision. Leaving, he will be fired from Activision once the deal goes through. I mean, I think it is he has to go.
He does because his leadership is not good. Not counting hypothetical world where none of this bad stuff happened.
Hmm.
Under his leadership, the games are ass.
Yes.
Something's wrong. And usually it's further up the line that things start going wrong. So most likely there are like the people who make the game don't go, yes, let's release it broken. Like they're making like essentially art. They don't go, yes, let's release bad art. No, there's dudes in power who are like, no, 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 no. We need that bottom line. We need it out by Q3, Q4, whatever. So there's that whole idea of like that schedule. I think is in for a shift or a change because Microsoft is a stickler for their image being
Right.
good, and if they keep releasing like Vanguard-esque things, it's not gonna be worth that 70 billion. Even though it's a guaranteed moneymaker, right? Every year. That's probably why they initially bought it, right? World of
Right.
Warcraft is probably a bunch of whales, and then the yearly release of COD is literally just a money generator.
Right.
It's an infinite money glitch. So
But transitioning, I suppose, because we're on the topic of God, from just talking about the acquisition to talking about Call of Duty in
yes,
particular. Um, so one of the biggest like sort of buzzwords or like phrases and ideas that the whole Call of Duty community has been having in these past couple years with how the games have been perceived at launch and how they've played out is, of course, the moving off of the yearly cycle of Call of Duty and into having like a Halo where you have a game that gets released and then updated and has a lifespan longer than one singular year,
yeah,
uh, which is good for everybody,
literally
um,
everyone.
literally everyone. Uh, a potential idea that they could do, especially like taking it straight from Microsoft and how they've handled things, is use Call of Duty kind of like, or like deal with it in the same way Microsoft and Mojang, a sub developer now of Microsoft, does Minecraft, where you have a game that is released, and over time you release just mass like updates.
Expansions.
Yes.
Like it's fucking Warframe or something, where it's like, I don't know how to explain that. I was gonna,
Okay.
because expansion implies MMO, like WoW, where like you
Yeah.
run
Right.
around and do shit in open world. That's not what COD is, obviously.
Sure.
Warframe, there's a game, and then they'll do an expansion, and it just adds a bunch of new things themed around a thing. You still have to click go into a level, and in this term it would be go into a game and stuff. But like it would be like, oh, the BO2 expansion. It adds BO2 maps. It adds BO2 guns. It adds like you could do shit like that. Halo Infinite, the first season, Reach. It was Reach themed. It's Reach themed. Just do that.
And that takes a bunch of pressure off of developers to meet those deadlines, because while there still will be sort of release schedules planned out, there is a game that is created, that is out there, that people will be playing and engaging with. And for those expansion packs, you don't have to really release them until they're ready to be released.
Yes.
You don't have to push out unfinished content, because you'll already have a finished, a working, good, solid game at launch. And then those expansion packs will come out whenever the developers are satisfied with what they've created.
Yeah. Competitive games, esport games, are moving towards a free-form experience. A good example being CSGO or Valorant or Dota or League, where there's a game. It's a base thing that you do for a competitive experience, because at the core of COD, it's competitive. There's a huge casual audience, but all you need to do to satisfy them is have a separate category with no SBMM, and it's casual. Boom, done. But since the main, it is an esport at its heart, at its core. So like, they need that like core game that doesn't have to be repurchased, doesn't have to be re-downloaded. Things are stagnant in their structure. They are static, I guess is a better word. There's too much movement, there's too much change, and there's too much pressure to like do something each year. And so you get Vanguard, which it's like, we could have just had Cold War for another year, and everyone would be happy. Literally no one would be mad. So like,
Right.
They need to shift out of yearly. They need to pick like, here's a game we're going to run for 10 years. That's what Halo Infinite's doing. They have a 10-year plan. And after that, then they'll start, Halo whatever. They need to do something like that, because right now it's going down the shitter, and it's going down fast.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I guess especially with like the Xbox or Microsoft / Xbox, them acquiring it, Microsoft obviously, it's like Microsoft and Xbox is an inherent. It's like, I know Microsoft is like a very big computer company or whatever, but
Windows.
yes, Windows. Yes, you know what I mean. But Xbox, and they're like, it's a console company that has had a history of massive success through that console, the console wars between Xbox and PlayStation. Do it like Nintendo does it with Super Smash Brothers, where you release a new one every time there's a massive console update.
Yeah,
So,
that would work
and
great.
then just let it run throughout that entire. And then once you get a new console with new possibilities of what you're able to do with that, then release a new one. But for the 4, 5, 6, 7 years that console will run, just have one game that you just constantly update and expand upon. And now you have so many different companies that could be working on it. You don't have to be pressed to like the work crunches and the awful situations for those developers who are forced to meet deadlines that they can't really meet.
Yeah. I mean, that's the core issue for... You could see it in the last 3 games, right? Modern Warfare had a lot of issues at launch. It wasn't nearly as bad as Vanguard, and Cold War was even worse. Modern Warfare is like complete. When I received the game, it was done. Everything they had in it was in it. Special ops was a little shaky, but who fucking cares? So it's like, but then it's just Cold War came out, and I'm like, this seems a little sparse. It seems a little. There's like UI bugs. There's weird bugs and zombies. It felt kind of unfinished. And then Vanguard comes out. And it's like, is this a fucking alpha? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it's because games, especially with these new engines and these new graphics and how the expectations, games are getting bigger and more complicated. You can't shove it out in fucking 3 years. You need like a real dev cycle, because right now we're seeing the effects of that. Vanguard is one of the first games that was like, new engine for sure. We're gonna do it this way. They had a blueprint and everything, and even then, with all that foresight from like Modern Warfare and everything, still fucked up. And it's because they rush everything, because they have to do the yearly bullshit. It sucks and it's stupid. Just release a game and update it. It's so much better.
And to note on that again, I want to debunk something I saw on Twitter that had people kind of talking, and that's, oh, but on a 3-year cycle, each company has 3 years to develop a game. Firstly, think about all the big name gaming franchises that are like think Grand Theft Auto, think Super Smash Brothers, think The Elder Scrolls. Those games don't get released every 3 years. They get released when they are completed. Secondarily, that's not even true. Companies don't get 3 years. They get 2 years at most, because they spend that first year still working on
art.
Yes. So
UI, like just random like design shit, story for campaign. Like, yeah.
Each game, companies may use the same engine, but there's so many different things like involved with that, and making each game feel unique, that it's not as simple as people think, where it's like, okay, here you release your game, here's 3 years to make the new one. It's not that simple. And it's even if it was that simple, 3 years is obviously not enough.
No.
Like Cold War gets somewhat of an excuse because
they started that during quarantine. Yeah. And
they had less time. They started during quarantine. They had to come in because Sledgehammer couldn't finish their game. The most outrageous and egregious thing to think about with Vanguard is the fact that they had an extra year in that cycle.
It's that bad still.
And it's still that bad. There's obviously something inherently wrong with the way those games are developed and the way Activision works as a company. Because like you said, it's not that they're putting out bad games. Vanguard is a bad game. It's not a complete game. And it's not like, oh, the design choices that they made are bad, we don't like them, whatever. The game is not finished.
It isn't. It's just broken.
That's unacceptable.
Warzone 2. It's been out and it's still broken.
Yeah.
Like, cripplingly so.
There's something inherently wrong with the way Activision Blizzard works as a game developing company. As much as I am very much against the monopolizing and consolidation of these huge multi-trillion-dollar companies, if that's what it takes to shake up the way Activision Blizzard works as a developing company, then by all means. Yeah, because there's something way wrong with the way it works right now.
It's one of those things where it's like, they're going to do this consolidation thing whether or not I like it or you like it. It's an inevitability. So use this opportunity to fucking fix it.
Right.
Like, if you're gonna, send us to a corporate dystopia, at least fix the game on the way there. Because right now it's an unplayable mess. Besides Halo Infinite, that's a blessing from the gods that it gave me some form of fucking casual shooter to play, because I'm not touching Vanguard. Like, it's not happening. So it's aggravating, and I hope they take advantage of the situation to fix something, because I think it's a perfect opportunity for Microsoft, especially being a stickler for quality that they are, to, hammer down, fix your shit. Because we just bought you for $70 billion. Right. You better work, bro.
Yeah.
My pocket's feeling light, dog. I don't know. Even they felt that one. That's a
Yeah,
big moneymaker purchase right there.
absolutely.
So
Save us, Bill Gates.
I doubt he even fucking does anything anymore in that
He
company.
doesn't. He does not do a thing.
He's
Not
messing with his charities right now. He doesn't do all that.
but it's funny. It's funny to be like, come on, Bill. Hey, wow, this video ended a lot quicker than you might have expected. That's because we ended up ranting for way too long about all of our favorite Call of Duty games. So we cut this into a two-parter. So you're obviously, you just watched this part one. In probably a couple days, maybe we'll have part two uploaded. It's going to be specifically devoted towards our ranking of the Call of Duty games, which I think is going to ultimately make for a better experience overall anyway, because it gives us more time to actually talk about those games and give real reasons as to why we like them. Also, I've been looking down and not up. My bad. I'll get better at that. I promise. Anyway, if you guys watched this whole video, thank you guys so much. We love you. Just subscribe. I mean, you watched this far anyway, and we appreciate all you. Let us know in the comments what you think about this whole acquisition and everything going on in the Call of Duty community right now and with gaming in general. Yeah, let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys in part two. Deuces.
Deuces.